Hey gang, Randy Reed here. All right, let's get to this. Now we're going to start having some fun. Listen, what I'm going to share with you in these next two lessons are things that we use to give foundational structure and control to our classroom, to the class floor. Why is this important? First off, as we've talked about many times, discipline leads to self-discipline. Our goal is to give these kids the superpower of self-discipline. That's our main goal. All right, so that's important. Number two, when you have your class and your school, for that matter, completely under control, that saves you or your instructors a ton of energy. When you have an uncontrolled situation, it becomes very hard to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. And man, it's a lot more work. And number three, the parents love it. The parents love seeing this structured foundation of the kids moving, following directions, listening, paying attention, under self-control, developing self-discipline. Parents love that stuff, love it. So let's get started here with these. And we're going to go through this in these next two lessons. Then the lesson after that, we're going to go in how you start training your staff or even yourself or however you want to do it to start getting these tools. So let's get started here. Let me share my screen. Go here. And I think we're ready to go. So these are the rules that we use on our floor. We've got a set of 5 of them I'm going to share with you here. These are extremely important. They will make your life so much better. God, I wish I'd had these when I first started teaching. So the first rule is the 3 rules of control. We call it LED. Lock it up, take a knee. This is a way we control a complete class. At any given time, if we shout out, lock it up, the kids will sit down, cross their legs, crisscross applesauce, put their hands on their knees, and they're looking at us. They're on it. We may say, instead of saying lock it up, we may say take a knee. They'll drop down to one knee, they'll put both hands on top of the other knee, and they're off to the races. On to the next one. Okay, eyes on who? Eyes on you, sir. We'll say, let's take a scenario. Kids are getting a little crazy. All right, everybody take a knee. Bang, they look at it. Eyes on who? They'll all shout back their response. Eyes on you, sir. The last thing we ever want to do is talk over kids. You ever found yourself trying to yell, they're yelling, you're going to try to yell. We don't ever do that. That shows that we're out of control. And once again, we're burning bandwidth and energy. And this looks great when we can drop a group of 50, 60 kids. Bang, we've dropped 300 of them in a test before. And they're on that knee, they're looking at you, eyes on who? Eyes on you, sir. We have complete control. It's really cool. And it gives us a chance to get them where we want them as far as concentration focused on us. The next one, divide and conquer. Sometimes, you know, I used to crack me up because some days, it must have something to do with the moon, where the kids are just kind of crazy that day. And it doesn't seem like it's one class. It just seems like something in the tidal waves that do it. And they'll just be a little crazy. So we use divide and conquer. If we're having trouble with the bigger groups, we'll break them into small groups, get them working with an assistant until such time as we can get them back under control. If you're only one instructor, the way that I've done it before is break them up into 3 groups, sometimes even 4, on all 4 sides of the wall. Group 1, jump up, have them do a drill, sit down, next one up, and keep them moving so fast. We've got some other systems we do with that. So those are our 3 rules of control. Lock it up, take a knee, eyes on who? Eyes on you, and divide and conquer. Man, you start getting those in there, it's going to make a difference. Next one, where are we at here? We're at 3 rules of discipline, USC. Use a leader's voice. We want to be focused on our students. We want to have a proper leader voice. We don't want to be too quiet. And our posture must be the posture of a leader. I've seen some very quiet instructors, and sometimes it's hard to control the groups that way. Speak with a smile. We never get angry. at least on the outside. Man, when I was coming up, I used to blow up all the time. I couldn't control them because I didn't have any tools. Then I'd blow up and, oh, it looked terrible. And now the only time we do raise our voice is when there's a safety issue. When I was working with summer camp kids, there was a couple cases where I had to fire that big loud voice that were capable of, man, you ought to see the kids freeze because they never heard that voice before. But we don't want to get to that level. We want to lead with positive energy. Back to using our leader's voice. We're out there, we're leading, we got a smile on our face, a smile in our voice, and kids are enjoying the class. Consistently be consistent. We must be self-disciplined and hyper consistent in the enforcement of our rules. Man, a quick story. When I was young, my parents were not very good at raising children, and they only had one. That was me. Maybe it was me. But I grew up in a very undisciplined household, and I'd go stay with my step grandmother, who was an old German woman, and man, she took zero crap from little Randy Reed. And I loved it. I loved the structure. I loved the fact that I wasn't going in every day to check what the boundaries were. Discipline needs to be consistent. If you don't do that, if one day you enforce a rule and the next day you don't, that will lead to chaos and because every day you got to go in and fight the war. Trust me, discipline yourself to be highly consistent in the way you're pushing and the way you're applying your rules. 3 rules of communication. CU7. Connection before communication. I modeled this. That's a new word in martial arts, model. They use that instead of stolen. So I modeled this from Melody Johnson, former Miss Melody Schumann, world-class children's instructor. Get down, connection before communication. Get down to their level, lower your voice, make contact, and get an agreement. What this means, the way I utilize it anyway, instead of hollering at a kid or yelling an order, especially when you're starting to get to a discipline kind of situation, you want to get down to their level, grab a knee, you want to lower your voice, you want to make sure they're looking you in the eye, and you wanted them to agree on the behavior that you're going to ask for. Screaming at them doesn't work a bit. Understand before trying to be understood. Ooh. This is very simple. This works with staffing, it works with the kids, it works in life. It's a very simple question you ask. Tell me about your choice to. Bobby, tell me about your choice to pick up that body shield and hit Jimmy right in the back of the head with that thing when you know you're not supposed to. Now, he may well say, oh, I thought we were allowed to do that. No, we better be down on connection before communication. No, we don't hit other kids in the school. Do we understand? Yes. So check that they understand that the behavior is wrong first. Very, very important. Now, speaking of modeling, stealing, 745-48. This comes from a world-class communication business trainer, Rudy Mick, 745-48. You may have heard this before, but when you're trying to communicate with somebody, only about 7% of that comes from the words that are said. 45 will come in your voice tone. We do a drill where we say hello 6 different ways. Hello, hello, hello. You can go on and how many different ways you could say that voice tone. And of course, your body language. Now, where does this affect us? Well, if we're talking on the phone, we have words and voice tone. If we're on a Zoom call, we have words, voice tone, and body language. What happens if we're only texting? We only have that 7%. Have you ever text somebody and either sent a text that was misunderstood or you were misunderstood on a text you sent? So as we're going through this and we're communicating, we want to remember the connection on communication, understand before being understood, and of course, the 745-48. Very good. All right, we're going to stop on here and we're going to go through the rest here in just a minute.